Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. We're going to take the whole AI wave and completely reframe it. Instead of an existential threat, what if it's actually your greatest career advantage? I mean, if you got into software to actually build things another person could use, things that scale and change the world with literally just a laptop and a spark of an idea, you are in exactly the right place at exactly the right time. Today, we're breaking down the playbook for winning in this new era of computer science and shifting your mindset from total panic to immense leverage. So before we totally panic about the future, we really need to step back and ask, is this new era actually destroying developers, or is it just changing the rules of the game? It's incredibly easy to see these massive leaps in artificial intelligence and feel like the ground is completely falling out from under you. But what if the folks who seem to be losing ground aren't actually bad developers? What if they're just clinging to an older, slower world of software creation that's simply fading out? We are definitely standing at a crossroads here. You've probably heard this quote, software developers will be completely wiped out. This noise is literally everywhere right now. You see it in comment sections, on forums, in all the headlines, and it's totally paralyzing aspiring engineers who are terrified their manual coding skills are already obsolete. It creates a tremendous amount of anxiety. You might be sitting in a computer science class right this second wondering if the syntax you're meticulously memorizing will even matter next year. And honestly, that fear is completely valid if you're still playing by the old rules. But here's the crazy part. The reality is actually the exact opposite. There has genuinely never been a better time to be a software engineer because the barrier to building something real has never been lower. We're seeing incredible optimism, backed by the market. The people winning right now, like the students landing 5 internships or the dev charging $50 a month for a tool they literally spun up in a single weekend, they get it. They understand the leverage has completely shifted. You can now do in a fraction of the time what used to take years of grinding through documentation and writing every single line by hand. Moving on to Section 1, Spectator versus Surfer. Let's look at 2 distinct developer mindsets. All right, let's look at the first mindset, the spectator. The spectator essentially stays on the beach. They're waiting to perfectly master a single language, letting all these terms like LLMs, RAG, agents, GPT, Claude just blend into this one intimidating giant cloud of jargon. They might even have this deep-seated fear that relying on AI tools makes them a quote-unquote fake programmer. So, what do? They keep their distance. They sit back, watch the wave, and wait until they feel they know enough to participate. But in today's landscape, waiting just means getting left behind. Then you have the surfer. The surfer embraces AI as just another framework. They realize that computer science has literally always been a field built on layers of abstraction. Think about it. Nobody calls you a fake programmer for looking stuff up on Stack Overflow, right? Or for using open source libraries where you don't even fully understand the underlying code. The surfer applies that exact same logic to AI. They use it to learn the fundamentals faster, to squash bugs faster, and to drastically shorten the gap between imagining something in their head and getting it working on their screen. The contrast between these two is just incredibly stark. You've got one developer completely frozen by the sheer volume of new information, while the other relentlessly shortens the distance between idea and execution. The spectator is busy negotiating with themselves, but the surfer is out there experimenting. Need to build a web app? They use AI to scaffold the entire dashboard in an afternoon. Tackling some brutal graphics concept for a game engine? They use AI to decode the exact documentation that would have taken hours to read manually. Their feedback loops are insanely fast. Which brings us to Section 2, from typing to system design, the new era of software. Just look at this transition from the old way to the new way. We're moving from spending literal years just memorizing syntax to scaffolding entire applications in a single day. We're shifting from writing every single line by hand to automating all the boring, repetitive parts of the workflow. The major takeaway here? The bottleneck is no longer writing the code itself. The bottleneck is your mind. It's whether you can think clearly, recognize a good idea, move quickly, and architect complex systems. It's really turning into a creativity game. And because of the shift, a project that used to take a team of 5 manual coders can now be executed by a single person using AI. Just let that scale sink in for a second. The leverage you have as an individual builder has practically multiplied by 5. You're no longer just a cog churning out boilerplate code. You are the architect, the director, and the executor all rolled into one. That means ambitious founders can chase a massive vision with a super lean team of 2. Instead of a bloated team of 20, they can actually chase the visions they believe in because the overhead, the time, and the sheer human capital required to get an idea off the ground has absolutely plummeted. And honestly, this is exactly why we're seeing random students lock in for a weekend and accidentally build tools that thousands of people end up using. All right, section 3, the power of visible building. Why you need to stop building in silence. So the folks getting the best opportunities right now, the crazy internships, the startup roles, the referrals, they're the ones who are visible. You've got to post your projects on LinkedIn, share short demo videos on Twitter, write about the random things you're learning, even if it's just a weird bug you fixed, a totally failed project, or an opinion you have. Companies shaping this wave, like OpenAI and Anthropic, they are actively looking for visible momentum. They want talent that's already in motion. You don't need a perfectly polished portfolio. You just need to signal that you're in the arena wrestling with these tools out in the open. And finally, section 4, stop filtering, start building. Now this is the surfer's ultimate playbook right here. You grab any template, any AI library, some random GitHub repo, and you just build it anyway, even if it feels super messy or way too ambitious or like something one person shouldn't be able to pull off alone. That is exactly the point. You aggressively cycle through these 4 rapid steps: build, ship, show, and iterate. Stop negotiating with your own ideas. When you get one, push it straight through this cycle, and slowly, your identity as a highly capable developer will absolutely start to catch up with your behavior. But, of course, to keep up with your own ambition in this cycle, you have to continuously hone your mind. The source material points out that the things that actually matter now are logical reasoning, debugging instincts, and just thinking clearly under complexity. They actually recommend treating hard concepts like puzzles you genuinely want to solve, maybe using platforms like Brilliant to constantly upgrade your foundational math and coding logic. Because look, when AI is doing the heavy lifting of writing the actual syntax, your core value is your ability to outthink the problem. The wave is here, the water is perfect, and the tools to build your absolute wildest ideas are sitting right there on your laptop. So the only question left to answer is, how will you start surfing today? Seriously, don't be a spectator. Grab your board, stop over-filtering your ideas, and go build something incredible this weekend.